Hi guys, howdy and hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name's Mercy and you've clearly come for some drama and tasty tea. In my last video we reviewed the book The Black Witch by Lori Forrest. As you should know by now, the words rant and review are interchangeable to me, but I would like to add ramble to that list because, well, when I enjoy something I can go on about it forever, and that's almost what you guys got in last week's video. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this book. It's one of those books that gets you in the gut because even though it's fiction, it's still realistic. In other words, no magic. No magic or supernatural things happening today. But it's still a good read. Fixing Delilah is a young adult novel. What's new? Fixing Delilah is a young adult novel by Sarah Ockler. It's a standalone, but she's also penned some other pretty popular titles such as 20 Boy Summer and Bittersweet. I haven't read them. I just remember being in Barnes & Noble, my favorite bookstore, they know my name there, and thinking, I should read that, but I never did. You know those books that entrap you and give you the feels? Well, I don't have those, but I imagine that if I did, I'd be in them now, feeling some type of way, as the youth like to say. Is that how you, that's how you do it, the nay-nay? Without further ado, let's get into the review. This book starts off with Delilah Hannaford and her mother Claire in the car taking a road trip at the beginning of the summer. Her grandmother, Elizabeth Hannaford, has just passed away and they're going to look over the estate and put the house up for auction. Delilah's been getting in constant and consistent trouble, and after she's caught sneaking into the house the night before they leave, it can easily be said that tensions are fraught. These two have a very distant relationship, with neither one wanting to listen to the other one and thinking that they're right. So this makes for a very frustrated-filled journey. Delilah falls asleep in the car, and when she awakens, she discovers that they've arrived in Red Falls, Vermont. While waiting for her aunt's arrival, she ventures out towards the docks where she reunites with an old childhood friend, a bosom buddy, if you will, after an awkward and slightly embarrassing encounter. The rest of Delilah's summer is spent making new friends, learning about herself, and discovering family secrets. Finn has a last name, but it isn't worthy of being mentioned. He's Delilah's non-boyfriend, as she put it. He sends a text, they meet, they hook up in the woods, and they both go about their day. Exactly how she wants it. He's there for convenience. I strongly recommend against this, by the way. You shouldn't use another human to numb out your emotion. But back to Finn. Let's just say he ain't my cup of tea. Luna, the nice cafe owner of Luna's Cafe. Every time I think of Luna, I think of Cat and Sailor Moon. Always there to defend. She is the one on whom we can depend. She is the one named Sailor. Luna's is sort of the town hangout. Everybody goes there to get their coffee and listen to live music on, I believe it's Thursdays, the best day. She's a cool chick in a small town, and she used to babysit Delilah back when her and her mother both lived there. Patrick. Speaking of live music, he's the main headliner. Actually, I think he's the only headliner. But that doesn't matter. Patrick is Delilah's childhood friend, and he's kind of sweet on her. When he finds out that Delilah and her mother are coming back to town, he's over the moon. He's a sweet guy and he's really understanding. He can hardly do any wrong. He's up there with Landon from After. Yeah. Good stuff. Emmy Bear. Emily is Luna's niece, and she also works at the cafe during the summers, which is how she became friends with Patrick. She's a very cool gal with an easy manner. Though she's battling issues of her own, e.g. coming out to an unaccepting dad and hiding a secret girlfriend, she's the voice of reason and holds the trio together. Megan. My banker's called Megan. We'll talk later. Megan. I owe her a chat. Luna's daughter and Emily's cousin, she is often referred to as Megan B.E. Baker by Delilah throughout the book. I'm a savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet. She's a kind-hearted woman who consistently tries to force-feed people pastries and baked goods. I don't know about you, but I don't see the problem there. Free cookies and muffins? Oh yeah. I'm practically a donut. I don't have blood in my veins. It's hot chocolate and brownies. That's why I'm so sweet and how I retain my chocolatey complexion. Rachel. Rachel is the eccentric aunt. Why can I not say that word? Rachel is the eccentric aunt who is into reading tarot cards and making homemade incense. She also works as a caterer for the movie industry as her full-time job. While mostly carefree, she's still haunted by the shadow of her overachieving and perfection-obsessed older sister. However, because of that, she's able to provide Delilah with the motherly affection that she's missing out on. Rachel has also become close with Megan the baker, as she was Stephanie's best friend. You might be wondering why I've been kind of vague with my character descriptions this go round, as well as wondering who the heck Stephanie is. Well, I didn't want it to be glossed over, so I will tell you now before we get into the last two characters. Stephanie Delilah Hannaford was the younger sister of Claire and Rachel. Onto Delilah, though passing away at 16, she didn't live long enough to come into that title. She's originally described in the book as being young and carefree and madly in love with her boyfriend. As we hear more from Stephanie's point of view via a diary that Delilah finds in the old room that she's staying in at her grandmother's house, it's discovered that Stephanie had begun to become depressed. The official cause of Stephanie's death was a heart attack due to an overdose of sleeping pills mixing with her antidepressant medication, ultimately resulting in a fatal cocktail. However, it's highly implied that her death is intentional. Claire, the older sister of Stephanie and Rachel, mother of Delilah. She's an overachiever and a workaholic who barely has time to spend with Delilah outside of work. She's invested and sacrificed a lot in order for them to have the life that they do. I've mentioned before that mother and daughter relationships can be difficult, but honestly, reading this one, it really put some things into perspective to me, and I think it takes the cake as far as difficult relationships with a parent. Though somewhat justifiable, Claire is incredibly difficult on Delilah. And it's difficult to understand why until she confesses a secret towards the end of the book that she's been holding on to for over 10 years. The night that her younger sister died, she was grieving at the lake when her boyfriend showed up. In both of their grieving states, they sought comfort in one another and had relations. Years later, at her father's funeral and racked by guilt, Claire confides in Rachel. Their mother overhears this and a blowout argument ensues, resulting in both remaining Hannaford sisters moving away from Vermont not to speak to their mother or return until her passing. There's really not much to say here, it's just unfortunate. Delilah is young and lost and at a difficult stage that unfortunately most people go through. Her mom is never around, her friends are jerkwads, and she's hanging out with the wrong crowd outside of school. When we first meet her, she's just been caught sneaking back into the house past curfew, after having been freshly in trouble for attempting to steal some makeup, on top of being part of a scandal on the school's blog that was initiated by someone that she thought was her friend. She dreads the idea of having to spend the summer alone with her distant mother in her estranged grandmother's house back in Vermont. Her attitude towards Vermont perks up though as she re-meets Patrick and discovers that he's no longer little Ricky and develops a crush on him. They begin to date, but in the meantime she's trying to figure out certain things about her family, like why her grandmother never reached out to her when they moved away from Vermont, or why nobody talks about her Aunt Stephanie. One night she finds Stephanie's hidden diary, which prompts Delilah to do more investigating. This leads to the eventual revelation that the army journalist that her mother told her for years was her father is not in fact her father, and that her real dad is her deceased aunt's, at the time, boyfriend. She obviously doesn't handle this well and flips out on everybody, withdrawing to herself. Fortunately, these events lead to some self-reflection and some family healing. Damn, that's rough. Overall, the book ends on a positive note. Delilah and Patrick decide that they're going to figure out how to make long distance work. Delilah leaves with Emily still being her friend. She has a better relationship with her mother, and her mother and sister are no longer as distant as they were. But this book, man, talk about some family drama, this shit is messed up. Advice: respect yourself and respect others. Don't start a relationship or an entanglement with somebody if you're not ready. And by not ready, I mean if you're planning on numbing your feelings by being with this person, don't do that. Don't engage. 2. Secrets are no fun unless you share with everyone. I don't think having secrets is good. I believe that it's best to be as honest as possible, as often as possible. It saves anger and hurt feelings, and often the result is not as bad as you originally thought it was going to be. Delilah's problem was not her parentage, because the fact of the matter is she grew up without a dad either way. Delilah was mainly upset that A, a lie was fabricated to cover this, and B, that it was continued for years, that nobody bothered to tell her the truth. 3. Ask for help if you need it. If you're struggling with depression and or thoughts of self-harm, reach out for help. I understand that it can be difficult, but there are resources and anonymous hotlines that can assist you. The fact of the matter is, a lot of the time people hide their problems and depression behind a happy facade. There's no shame in asking for help if you need it. 4. Take your time. Everyone processes loss in their own way. If you know someone that's experienced a loss, the best thing that you can do for them is let them know that you're available and there for them if you're needed. If you've lost someone, know that it's okay to not be okay. Time heals all wounds. Maybe not completely, but enough to allow you to keep going. I'll leave you guys with this for today. You have to let people go. Everyone who's in your life are meant to be on your journey, but not all of them are meant to stay till the end. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. I know that it was not my usual goofy type of video, but I thought that there was really something to be said here about this book. It talks about depression and family relationships, family secrets, cyberbullying. There's a lot to take away from this book, and I think that you guys should check it out. Got a little ball in my throat, but I thought the messages were important to share with you guys. And don't worry, I have something uplifting for next week. So if you liked it, please leave a like down below. I'd love to hear your comments. I'll see you in the next one.